Hello guys, my name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addictionmedia Finally's album reviews. You can find our band reviews and you can find the live coverage of the concerts that we get. I'll be posting an interview with I Hate Heroes tomorrow on Friday, so definitely go check that out. Also be posting a new podcast episode around the same time as this going out, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Also make sure to follow that so you get notified about those things, as well as a ton of live sets to be posted. I went to the Acacia Strain After the Burial tour, so that will all be posted, as well as We Were Sharks and Youth Fountain, also another Pure Noise band. So definitely check those out when they go out, and they will be getting released very soon. But tonight, we're going to be talking about Bearing's new record, Blue in the Dark. So I want to give a shout out to Austin over at Secret Publicity Group. He's the one who sent me this album over a few weeks early. I always love working with him and Pure Noise, so shout out to Pure Noise as well. But this band signed back in 2017 last year, and they released an EP called Nothing Here Is Permanent. I also did a review of that as well. But when I heard these singles that had been released, Aforementioned, Where Are You, as well as Blue in the Dark, I was really sold that they moved on, that they've done bigger things. Obviously, they've toured with Less Than Jake, 4 Year Strong, and a ton of others are currently on tour with Like Pacific, Rome, and a few other bands to note as well. But I'm super excited for you guys to listen to this record, and for those of you who haven't heard this band, please go check them out on tour, but also go check out this new record. So I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on all of them, go through some pros and cons on the record, and then finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track is Where Are You? This is one of the singles that have been released, and it happens to be one of my favorites as well. The song just has this awesome groove to it and swing to it that I felt like was lacking in their previous work, and I don't know if they listened to it or not. That's up to them, but I felt like this one really struck me super well off, not even just being the single, but also just in the record as a whole. It has that really sort of poppy, happy sort of vibe to it, but also has that sort of rock like punch that I've been expecting from this band. I also like how just definitively each instrument sounds. You can hear the bass, you can hear the two guitar parts, you can hear the vocals, you can hear the drums very distinctly, and I've always appreciated that about their styling and the way that they've arranged tracks. I think is really cool. The vocals definitely have improved from previous works. Like I said, Nothing Here Is Permanent, and I think it is a great opener track. Definitely gets you hyped and gets you excited to listen to the record, and I feel like it gives you kind of an idea of how the rest of the record will pan out. So we're gonna move into track number 2, which is Aforementioned. This was the first single that was released, and it has a music video. Go check it out on Pure Noise. But this one is also another single, like I mentioned previously, and it happens to be another one of my favorites as well. I think it's one of the best tracks off the record. I'll say that without a doubt. It's super catchy, and is just, I think it's one of their best songs that they've ever written, period. It just, instrumentally, it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite bands, Transit, and I remember stating that in the previous review, but I felt like this one has that strong sort of Transit vibe to it, which I love and endear. And I also like that this one, I think it kind of rides the line between a little bit like poppy, like pop punk, but also has a little bit more of a rock tinge to it as well. I think it's a bit softer than actually, I don't think it's a bit softer. I think it's kind of right in the middle between all of the singles that have been released so far. But definitely enjoying the melodicness of this track, and I think the structure and the arrangement make this song that much better, and I just think it makes it a top tier track off this record. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is Eyes Closed. This one is another favorite of mine as well. I like the vocals. I like that they have a bit more grit to it, but also can be cleaned up. I think that wasn't really touched upon in their previous work, and I think that it definitely shows a lot of experience, a lot of skill, and I think a lot of growth in terms of vocals. Another really solid chorus that I've grown to love. I think the harmonies really bring out a lot of the awesome qualities of the chorus as well. And the second verse has some really awesome vocal layering done. I don't know. I know that they're in previous track or in future tracks, there is a second vocalist. I think it might be one of their guitar players that lends his vocals on tracks, but I don't know if it was necessarily in this one. It could have, and I know it's definitely some in the future, but the bridge definitely makes this track super unique. I like that the bass takes more of the lead role along with the sort of group vocals, and I like that they added the jingle bells in. I thought that was really unique, but I think overall this one is a phenomenal track. It's a little bit of a different track for what you would expect from Bearings, and I definitely like the experimentation a lot. So we're gonna move into track number 4, which is Beautiful Places. As you can well imagine, is another one of my favorites as well. I like that this one has, again, more of a pronunciated bass roll in this track. The guitar chording is really cool, and I like how just kind of in the softer moments, there's this nice sort of lead overtone with the guitar work. I think that is really nice as well. Another really solid track that I feel like, for me, just gets that sort of catchy, like, groove sort of bug in my head, and I feel like they have... These 4 tracks are probably the best off the record for sure, as if I hadn't already stated that they were my favorites. But I think just songwriting skills and just the way that they structure the tracks and just how infectious they are is really cool, and I think that a lot of people will come to love those 4 tracks. So we're going to move into track number 5, which is Blue in the Dark, the title track of the record. And this one I feel like is a little bit different. I think I like how the 3 singles kind of have a little bit of a different vibe to them. Each one of them has a unique sort of tonal quality to them, but I feel like this one is kind of the more out of left field that most people won't expect to it. The vocals have something that really kind of stuck out to me in this track. I think that they have a little bit more of an expansiveness than in previous tracks. I felt like, in those 4 tracks, while they were really good, I felt like the vocals were very, what you would expect, and this one kind of takes it and flips it on your head for sure. It has more of a mellower vibe to it, and I like that the bridge really breaks up the overall vibe of the song in general. But I think that this one is a nice change of pace. It's nice hearing a softer side from Bearings. I felt like they weren't able to kind of really put that together in the EP, but in this in a full length, I feel like you're able to do that, and I like what they're doing with this. Another really solid track, and I think arrangement wise and sound wise, I think it was really good as well. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Stuck in a Door Frame. This one has probably the more rock affiliated sort of vibes of the songs going on in this one, especially in a sort of intro part, and I would say more in the choruses. I feel like they definitely have more of that sort of rock vibe to it, but however, this song just lacks that sort of pizzazz that I was expecting from some of the previous tracks that have been released. It's a little bit more high energy. I felt like this one kept the energy pretty well, but it was just missing something unique that really kind of kept me going back to the song the more that I listened to this record. It just feels very safe to me. I felt like they didn't do anything interesting that would have made this track stand out. However, I feel like the last chorus of this song really was interesting. They utilized different vocals, like I mentioned previously. I felt like it maybe was the other guitar player that does some of the vocal lines, and I hope that they do utilize him more in the future. But we're gonna move into track number 7, which is Careless, Clarity. This one is one of my favorites, and this one took me by surprise because it has a bit of a twang to it. It almost has like a folksy sort of country vibe to it. Maybe not like banjo folky, but you get the point if you listen to it. But I think it actually works, and like I said, I was genuinely surprised at how good it was. But I think the reason why I like this track a lot is just because it has character to it. The vocals are really good, but the instrumentation really makes this track unique and made it stand out to me on this record, and it just kind of invokes that sort of like backwoodsy sort of like campfirey sort of vibe, which I think is really awesome. I think it's a definite black sheep of the record. Most people would not expect this type of track from Bearings. I know I didn't, and I definitely enjoy this one, so definitely check this one out when it comes out. So we're moving to track number 8, which is Hear Me Say. This intro of the song is really cool. It has that sort of ethereal quality, has some really kind of like cool guitar harmonics along with the drumming. I think that matchup was really cool. I also like that the verses have sort of a softer vibe to it, more melodic, while the chorus kind of have more of that little bit more of a punch, a little bit more of an aggressiveness to it. Another really fantastic chorus as well, and I like that this one again has some awesome catchiness to it as well. The bridge is rhythmically really cool. I like that they switched it up. They made it unique. It doesn't sound like a lot of the other bridges off the record. And this one, I felt like maybe not as much as Stuck in the Door Frame, but I felt like this one is just kind of on that borderline. I'd say that this one is definitely a grower track. Each time I go through the record again and again, I feel like I start to like more things on this song. So I'm going to keep it in that grower category. So I'm hoping that maybe people kind of will help me deliberate on it. So we're gonna move into track number 9, which is Goodbye to All of Our Friends. This one is one of my favorites as well. Considering that there aren't sort of more fast-paced tracks, I'd say again, Stuck in the Door Frame is probably one of the more faster tracks, but this one is also another fast pace track. It has great energy to it, and it's nice to hear that in comparison to the past 2 tracks which have been kind of more mellow, a little bit more melodic. This one has a nice groove to it, and I think it just doesn't kind of let up after that. I like that this one has a little bit of angst. It has a little bit of anger in it. You can hear it in the sort of second verse, and the chorus of this song has a little bit more of a grit to it, and the drumming on this track is absolutely phenomenal. It's super tight. I love the fills. I love the sort of like rhythmic patterns that they got going on with this track. I think it really makes it unique, and I think they put a nice little spin on there. So we're moving to track number 10, which is Tide, and this one took me by surprise as well, but it also happens to be one of my favorites, just because of the naturalness of it. You can hear that the guitar is being mic'd, and the vocals kind of are done. I don't know if it's in the same booth or not, but you can definitely hear that sort of ambience and that sort of natural quality to it. The guitar work is absolutely phenomenal. It's probably one of my favorite kind of like acoustic bass tracks of this year, without a doubt. And I always love a good acoustic track, especially when it's so well executed like this one. The vocals sound phenomenal, and I like that there's a nice little break to after Goodbye to All of Our Friends. That one has more of a rock tinge to it, and this one has more of that acoustic sit around the campfire sort of vibe to it. I would say much like in the way that Careless Clarity had. This one feels very much in that sort of same vein. You can kind of hear a little bit of like lead guitar parts in there as well, which I think is also a nice addition to the track. So we're gonna move into the last track. Track number 11, Love and Decay. This one has a lot of the great aspects that I had been talking about in this entire review about Bearings. It has a little bit of grit to it, has a little bit of punch to it, has some more mellow parts, and it kind of covers the whole gambit of it. It has a really nice, cool groove and swing to it, and the vocals to the instrumentation are really solid. I'd say more so the instrumentation is really solid in this track, and definitely stuck out to me. But overall, I think it's a solid way to finish out this record, and kind of bring you back to the start again. So some pros and cons. I would say some pros, definitely more diversity in this record. I would say that they had more of an opportunity to show what they're made of, what they're capable of, and I felt like they really kind of nailed it on the head. Vocally, I feel like they improved a lot. There's a lot of like falsettos, there's some great mid-range, there's some great low range. I would say there's maybe not as much high range, just because I feel like it's not his style, but the falsettos beautiful, loved it. Catchiness, I feel like a lot of these tracks were really catchy, and I think it has a lot to do with the great songwriting of this record. I think that they were able to structure songs in quite a way that really kind of wrote me in as a fan. I was already a fan of them, but I feel like this one really kind of sold it home for me as well. I felt like there was a lot of tracks that had some really cool uniqueness to it, like Careless, Tide, Blue in the Dark was really unique, and I'd say the Aforementioned was another really solid track. Some cons that I have, I feel like it's not really a con necessarily, but I would hope that they utilize it in future releases, is that they get their other guitarists to do vocals. I feel like the counterbalance between them two would be really sick, and I think that it would add not only another thing to their band, but also another dimension to their sound as well, that I feel like would really benefit what they're doing now, just because I love what they're doing instrumentally, and I think vocally their vocalist now does a really phenomenal job. But I think that if they have their other guitarists do vocals, I think it would just kind of just edge that up just a smidge for me, for sure. So my overall rating for Bearings Blue in the Dark, I'm going to be giving it a 9.6 out of 10. I definitely feel like you should check it out. It's one of my top records for this year, for sure. It has, you know, that sort of alternative but that rock sort of vibe to it, but also a little bit of pop punk tinge in there as well. I feel like a lot of pop punk artists this year have moved into that sort of alternative rock space, and I'm totally not, I totally don't hate it. So definitely check this band out. Links are in the description where you can find out about them. Please go check them out on tour with Light Pacific in Rome. Hopefully I will be able to go check them out in Philly. I will be working, so hopefully maybe after work. I don't know. But please go check them out on this tour. Please go pick up Blue in the Dark. It's really awesome. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share it. It goes a long way and it helps us grow. So thank you so much to everybody who has checked out the channel recently. You guys are the best, and I hope that I can bring you some awesome new music in the coming weeks, months, years, whatever. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.